Hello everyone, this is POW Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, I'm going to talk about a Christmas snowstorm and yes, even some severe weather. So before we do get started, if you do like weather related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family on social media. All right, so let's get started. Here is the overall snowfall map through Christmas, and you can see where this developing snowstorm is going to take shape. It's going to bring it all the way down and bring parts of snow to just to the southeast, but especially the Ohio Valley, getting into New England and southern Canada. But how do we get there? So let's kind of take you back and go over the overall setup heading towards Christmas. We've got this developing storm. We've got an Arctic outbreak hitting the southeast Canada, and that colder air will kind of funnel into the upper portions of the U.S. as we get into the 23rd of the month on Wednesday. We've got some snow breaking out ahead of it into portions of Colorado, into Nebraska, and parts of Kansas. But as this storm kind of gets its act together and as it starts to take advantage of those warm, Gulf temperatures, it's going to tap into some of that, higher temperatures and elevate those the precipitation values and dump out some snow to the north side of that. So we could be talking some snow by the 23rd, getting into the early parts of Christmas Eve into the Texas Panhandle, as well as Kansas, and there'll be a little bit of snow breaking out into Iowa as this system kind of gets its act together. And so as it taps into some of those warmer Gulf temperatures, that'll just elevate this storm and bring start to include some of the heavier rains into portions of Louisiana, get into Mississippi and Alabama and the Tennessee Valley. But out ahead of it, where there's cold Arctic air kind of pouring in by Christmas Eve morning, that'll bring some snow showers to portions of Illinois, as well as Wisconsin, getting into Michigan. And you can see the freezing line by then. You can see this will kind of extend into the Ohio Valley as we get into Christmas Eve. But the main story is this just incredible thermal gradient temperature diversion that's going to be taking place with this storm. I mean, by the time of Christmas Eve morning, this Arctic air will start to intrude into the central and parts of the eastern parts of the U.S., bringing those below average temperatures all the way down into Texas. And that Arctic air will be trapped to the north. But out ahead of it, man, some extreme temperature anomalies from 15 to 20, if not 25 degrees above average for a good chunk of the southeast and the Ohio Valley, and that will just continue pushing off to the east, and that will set the stage for a possible severe weather setup coming up on Christmas Day, getting into the day after Christmas. So we'll talk about that as well. So here's what it looks like on the surface map on a Christmas Eve night, and that system starts to really get its act together as it extends further east. It'll extend all the snow all the way down into extreme portions of Alabama and Georgia. So I wouldn't hang your hat on that, but you could see some snow flurries. But definitely the snow picks up in the Tennessee and getting into Kentucky. I mean, I think North Carolina's out of the picture as far as snow, but once we get into West Virginia, getting into parts of Indiana, that'll increase the snow by then, as this will extend and taps into some of that colder air. And as we extend into Christmas morning now, and this system slowed just a tad, so that almost increases the severe weather setup because it's going to have more time to tap into some of those warmer temperatures. So by Christmas morning, a pretty heavy snow amount should be starting to break out and portions of Kentucky into West Virginia, especially as we get into western parts of Pennsylvania, places like Pittsburgh, start to see some snow by then. And this will extend, and you can kind of see that freezing line out ahead of it. So as we extend, then this is where we can talk about some severe weather, because that developing trough really starts to dig, and that'll pick up a lot of that warm Gulf moisture. And these bulk shears are pretty extreme values. I mean, we're talking, this is Christmas Day afternoon, and so we could have a lot of shear in the atmosphere, and this could promote some very high winds, as well as tornadoes that'll be tracking up the east coast. So these will be like quick little spin ups with little to no warning. So I mean, as this race across and tap into that very warm air for this time of year, as this system will dive in by Christmas Eve. Christmas Day. This is Christmas Day. Some of the wind gusts are pretty extreme. I mean, this is by the 25th, and so we're talking a good chunk of 50, 60, almost 70 mile per hour wind gust for a good chunk of the Northeast, especially along the coast. So we're definitely be on the lookout for that. I mean, we're going to be dealing with some snow in the Ohio Valley, get into Pennsylvania, but then also some severe weather out ahead of it, because the temperature gradient is about 40 degrees spread. So it's pretty huge of kind of where you live, and if you're going to get, severe weather, or if you're going to get a major snowstorm. So this is a very dynamic system playing out for Christmas Day, unfortunately. And as this continues moving on, and this is Christmas Day night, this will extend all the way up into Maine. I mean, we're talking severe weather, possibly 70 mile per hour wind gust, all the way up in the Maine by Christmas Day night. So that is some extreme stuff, especially for Christmas, when it should be really cold this time of year. Because as this extends, I mean, these winds will go all the way up into Maine. We're talking 70 mile per hour wind gusts all the way up to Bangor. So I mean, that is some pretty extreme stuff as this moves along the coast. So definitely, if you live in the area, definitely be on the lookout for possible quick sped up tornadoes for severe weather coming up on Christmas Day night. And as we extend on the backside where that cold air will intrude, we'll be dealing with all snow in Pennsylvania. So I think it's pretty much a given for Pennsylvania to have a white Christmas. And this will extend into the southeastern portions of Canada as this continues to move along. But if you live in, off the coast of the Northeast, and especially into Maine, I'm not looking for any snow. You'll be having to deal with that severe weather and some very heavy rain for the area. But where that cold air is going to take place and you have that transition, yeah, it's going to be all snow into Pennsylvania, where it's pretty much covered by Christmas Day night. And as this will extend into New York, and this will extend off into the east by then. But yeah, these temperature anomalies are pretty extreme. This is Christmas Day night, like midnight. We're talking, 15, 20, if not 20 degrees below average temperatures for the southeast and the Ohio Valley. But then we're talking 20, 30, if not 35 degrees above average temperatures for parts of the Northeast. And that's why we're going to be dealing with that severe weather, as that kind of taps into that extreme temperature gradient that's going to be setting up, unfortunately, for Christmas Day. So that's a pretty active day in the weather department. But look at the snow values. Here's the latest European model, and I'll go over several different models for you. This is like I said, don't hang your hat on snow breaking out in Alabama and Georgia. I mean, we could be talking just some very light snow flurries, maybe extending down as that cold air pushes down further south. But, don't be surprised if you see a snow flurry or two, and if you live in the northern side. But definitely, as we get into Tennessee and get into West Virginia and parts of Ohio, you're going to be dealing with some of those heavier snow amounts. And especially as we get into Pennsylvania, a lot of these areas received that big snow event just several days ago. But we're going to be dealing with more snow, and a good chunk of Pennsylvania is going to be covered, as well as New York, and then getting into the southeastern parts of Canada. And here's the latest GFS, kind of shows the same thing. So we're starting to see a little bit more model congruency, where that warm air is going to be off the coast of New England, especially off the coast. So I'm not talking any snow for you guys, just mainly an all rain event with this snowstorm setting up and having to be dealing with that severe weather, unfortunately, along the coast. But in the interior portions, yeah, you're going to be having a good chunk of the Ohio Valley, and especially as we get into the Mid-Atlantic, some heavier snow showers, if not some double-digit totals again for those areas. And if we extend even to the Canadian model, kind of shows the same thing, not quite as bullish, but you can see the primary setup bringing a tad bit of snow into Missouri, getting into portions of Illinois and Ohio, maybe 1 to 2 inches for you guys in that area. But the main setup will be getting into eastern parts of Ohio, West Virginia, and portions of Virginia, and especially into Pennsylvania as we get into Christmas Day. So that is the overall setup of this pretty dynamic storm that's going to be taking shape, unfortunately, for Christmas, with Christmas snowstorm as well as a severe weather setup for the Northeast and in New England. So I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.